In today's video, we're talking about one of my favorite passive exercises for when you're laying on the ground, frog. If you're familiar with yoga, I'm sure you've done frog at some point in your life, but if not, this is a great way to learn about this exercise from a postural perspective. Frog is really all about getting your pelvis to go into a more neutral position. This can be great for people with a rotated pelvis, people with anterior pelvic tilt, where you're walking like this, or people with posterior pelvic tilt, where you've got that pelvis tucked underneath. And this is a great way to stretch out the adductors and the groin muscles, as well as to engage the glutes. And I'll tell you what, just about every time I do this exercise, I can feel my glutes and my adductors and my hip flexors just all figuring out how to work together better. It's a great passive stretch. It's easy to do, so let's get started. At the core of it, this is a super simple exercise, very easy to perform. It's very passive. We're going to start in this what we call hook line position. That's with the knees at approximately 90 degrees, the feet flat on ground. I'm going to bring my feet together so that the bottom of each feet is touching each other. And then I'm just going to let my legs relax and fall towards the ground. Let my knees fall towards the ground. Now, what am I not doing here? I'm not trying to touch the ground. Your knees may touch the ground, they probably won't, but it doesn't matter if they do or not. We aren't trying to force them down. We're letting gravity do the work. This is a passive exercise. Can't stress that enough. And then you're just going to hold this for the time prescribed on your menu. I like to do this exercise sometimes for 5 minutes or longer, just because I find it to feel quite good sometimes. But there are a couple modifications that you can use. If you are having pain in the low back with this exercise, you might want to try using these type of, they're called cervical rolls, or you could substitute a rolled up towel. But these things, I prefer these to towels because they're softer, more comfortable. This is especially a good modification for anyone who has a posterior pelvic tilt, meaning that you've got a rounded lower back. You might have trouble getting into this position without pain. And if you have trouble getting your head onto the floor, some people's heads are stuck so far forward that it can cause pain just getting onto the floor here. You can also use these cervical rolls under your neck for that case there too. And this is really easy. It's just this position right here. Again, that's really the only modification the only two modifications I would recommend for this exercise. Now there is another way to do this exercise, and that's called wall frog. I'll be making a video for that as well. You can check that out in the cards for this video or in the description below. The only other point I would add on to this is to maintain a deep belly breathing. So we don't want to be breathing shallowly, or really shallowly. We just want to be in through the nose, out through the mouth. And that's really all there is for frog.